Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Good evening. Sorry to come in at this point. I wonder how you got this picture which is on the screen. Where does it come in? Is that from you, John? Or
actually, it's from you, Mr. Keshe.
No, it's not. It's not from me. I think you shared it one time in some meeting. I've seen it before, but I didn't put it up.
No, I thought it comes from your folder. In respect to what John was saying, as John is part of the whole of the Keshe Foundation structures, top management, we can clearly announce that we have arranged and structured a finance for it to build one enhancement center in every capital nation on this planet within the next 2 years. And we foresee to open at least one enhancement center in every state in the United States in the next 3 years. And the Keshe Foundation has arranged that what we call the Arizona Enhancement Center will go a step up to become an institute center, the same as Lids. And it's more or less everything has been laid out, everything has been sorted. The biggest problem we have is to increase the manufacturing at the Chinese end, which is being able to produce in excess of 100 units a month to meet what we want to do. And this has become more or less not possible. So we are looking into manufacturing 50% of the enhancement units in Iran, because Iran and China are the only nations we can produce these huge spheres in parts with the technology exists. The rest of the world has lost it. We can do it in Japan, but it's too expensive, too cumbersome, and it's impossible to work with Japanese. So what John was saying is that, yes, we are committed, and we are in the process of completing the financing of the opening one enhancement center in every capital of every nation. That's now the production has started. We have no problem. And if we cannot reach the enhancement centers, we can start with what we call the vision and the horizontal units, which are very effective systems. Keshe Foundation, as of 1st of November, has moved into a new dimension of work. So, in what John said, our limitation now is at the production end, and we have to see how we can sort that side out with the new technologies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Have you had any feedback from yesterday's session?
Can I ask a
Yesterday's
question?
session, yes.
Go ahead.
Yesterday's session was, if you noticed, we brought a new topic into discussion. We knew the Americans are online. We were told the way it was set up, people from Washington were listening, and we made a very clear line of discussion. The Iranian negotiation will start on the 8th, and what they call 28th, around about 28th of November, around 27, 28. And in that process, we laid out some markers, as we call it. And it was deliberate to do that for the American administration, and we will see their feedback in the negotiations. The second part, or the last quarter of the presentation, was targeted on the American administration, if you became aware of it, and part of putting the new markers down for the peace talks. We will see the reaction in Vienna when the talks start. If you look at what is coming out of Iranian leadership, especially in past week, more or less everything is in line with what the Keshe Foundation has requested in past 6 months. That we change the position, we bring a new dimension to show the new technology, and we support the peace talks between not 5+1, but at the same time, as we said on the teaching of Thursday, the situation with Palestine has to be as part of it. When we call it Palestine, that includes Israel and Palestinians together as one state with 2 sections or 2 parts. And secondly, this is on the prime list of our discussions in negotiations. We will take massive actions through, we have already received agreements in the background regarding to stop the nation of Belgium to be involved so heavily in pedophilia and child trafficking. And it's part of the negotiation if we get it our way. Now that we sorted out the weapons and arms and nuclear, now it's time to, while this committee sits, to sort out step by step a lot of things. The same, because if you look at it, as I said in 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, every member of every religion sitting on this committee, 5+1, Christian, the Jews, the Muslims, the Hindus, and everybody else. And then we have at the same time the major decision makers financial in the world, which is the China, US, Russia, and European community on the table. And we have to sort out the position of the borders. Border control goes out of the view. So we will see setting up of the new structures in control of the movement, or in a way to what we do with the presence of the new fast systems which are coming into operation. the spaceship, what we call the flight system, is under manufacturing in China at the moment. It's not that we can stop it. We have placed orders, and in the next 4 or 6 weeks, they'll be in Linz. You can literally go in and sit and watch and be part of it. So it's just how it's taking shape and how we will announce step by step we have on our plan within the next 12 months to open 5 centers: Tehran, Beijing, London, New York. Will go under the process of massive structures of CO2 absorption system to reduce pollution. We have already positioned the finances for it, and this is how we're going to show the technology, not by talk. Tens of millions have been committed to these projects. We will announce it, and you will see the structures will be built around, financed by the Keshe Foundation. We are not looking at anyone to finance us, anyone to support us. We will implement in these cities to reduce pollution, and in a pollution in a way to absorb CO2. And the credit for us comes when we cash in the what we call the CO2 absorption credits that allows us to finance more in the further down the line. And these things we will see. Keshe Foundation has geared up into a multi-billion structure set up in the coming years. And we are not looking to go to no one. We just offer building of these centers for CO2 centers into the nations, and we build it. We are not requesting any special offers, but or what we call, or we build and we show how we can change the position, and we capture the CO2, we can change the environment. These are our targets, and the foundation is in the process of finalizing sections of it, parts of it, and then we'll see. With the backing we receive from governments and others, we truly become a force in the world of the science space and the rest of
Thank you so much for your words, Mr. Keshe. It's very reassuring. I pray every day for North America. And this is really, really welcome news. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Mr. Keshe. Yesterday, I watched a report that says the whole world coming for a real problem with transportation, because there is a lot of goodies in from the shipping waiting in the ports. They cannot deliver, and they cannot what you call in and out because of lack of transport. So this one will not affect in the time to come the goodies of Keshe Foundation in and out?
I don't understand.
They are saying the shipment is increased about 25% from, let's say, 2019 because of the what they call a lot of countries open up to works, and they need supplements. So the offering is short, so the demand is very high. So they produce a lot of things, but the problem is not by the shipping. It's the problem in the port delivering this shipments. They do not have a lot of transport.
We know, for example, that in LA, imports 40% of the US imports, just one port, one part. And they have problem due Corona and the other things which now has caused a massive backlog of ships getting into the port. And even they don't think there'll be products for Christmas in the shop, even though they're shipped months before. The same is in England. The problem with the shipping is that they went through a sluggish time with Corona. The Chinese did not stop in a way, but the West stopped. The big companies stopped shipping out of the fear of whatever, that people will be out of job, they won't have no money, what should we bring in? And we saw that in the West very clearly. Many shelves, especially anything which used to be Chinese origin, were empty. You walk to supermarkets, which they had 2 or 3 rows of the products, which was always originally came to, disappeared overnight. They would not do because they were not sure. And then now this picked up, and there is nobody can do this. The problem is accumulating, and it will not be so easy. I don't see even the Chinese see a solution to it. The Chinese now, all our factories are 3 days operation because the cost of the coal is too much. All the Chinese factories, district by district, get 3 days off non-operation. 2 days no electricity. And the weekends they make sure you don't have electricity. And we all go back on generation, and this affects everyone. And this is a part of the economy. Nobody can help, nobody can do anything. We had a hiccup. These are the back end waves of it.
It takes years to solve this problem.
It would not take years, because what we see, especially in the American European structure of the retail, everything has a date, expiry date, except some pots and pans and whatever. This is where the problem will come. We are negotiating with a number of the African nations to extend the shelf life, but in the ports, a lot of food commodities will go into waste. They literally will empty containers into the seas, into oceans, because what's not delivered on time will not meet the time, it will expire. There is a huge structure problem coming up in the background. The food shortages next year will be extensive. In England, they already have lack of drivers, but they have the food, the same as America. And the European driver unions has not allowed any of the drivers to switch to UK. UK is short of drivers shops. A lot of shops are short of different materials. They have a fuel problem. Our English guys here can tell you, but it will not be solved. It will not be solved. And we just sit on the sideline and watch what's the next.
But we have the solution, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, we have the solution. The solution sits in many of the ways if you know how to use the technology. We keep on teaching in a very soft way, explaining for people what to do, but apparently it's a wind flow. It goes through one ear and goes the other way.
Not
No
all the
knowledge
time.
seeker,
Not
no knowledge seeker, if it comes to the crunch, should be suffering from hunger or disease or cold or lack of energy. No knowledge, because there's all the knowledge is there how to do it, and everything has been gone through step by step.
Look like everything created artificially to suffer the human.
A lot of it is not artificial, a lot of it is reality. Is we are, you got to realize Keshe Foundation is in a vertical position. We design, technology belongs to us. We manufacture, we try to get to retail, but now we see problems we didn't have before, and it's deliberate. When we shipped the first enhancement units from China, from the factory to our factory in Austria, door to door was 14 days. Now there are over 2,000 Chinese rail, trains in a backlog down the line in Bulgaria and Poland. And the Chinese never thought they'll have this. And now delivery is 50 days. Europeans deliberately went to sabotage the success of Chinese. That's all it was. Deliberately sabotage. It's a war against each other. It's not the way it used to be.
Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.